I don't know where my pen at. Where is my pen?
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Everyday Struggle this Thursday, Friday, and reminder we're off next week for 4th of July for the whole week. The whole week.
Wayno's rolling, he's blinding me, man. I need shit.
Word.
I went and got it clean yesterday.
Really?
Oh, that's. Oh, he wasn't joking.
I was trying to joke, man.
He wasn't joking.
Fuck him, man.
How much it costs to get a Rolex cleaned?
It's free to get it clean.
Really?
Yeah, you don't gotta pay to get it
Oh, it's
clean.
like it comes with the warranty.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie.
Like a lifetime
you got this
warranty.
little snobby way of saying broke.
Did you see how he looked at me when
Yeah,
he
look
said
like,
that
yo,
shit?
you peasant.
Y'all are too fucking ridiculous.
We just aspire to be
I
like you,
swear.
Wayno.
Oh, stop it.
Executive life out here. This is why he supports all the rappers who stop making music just so they can live that executive life. He knows.
Listen, one day.
One day, but today, you guys, we shall start with a little bit of nostalgia. This week in hip hop, Jay dropped one of the greatest albums of all time. June 25th, 1996, Reasonable Doubt, his debut album. Sold about 43,000 copies first week. It charted for 18 weeks. It didn't go platinum until 2002, but that actually doesn't matter if we're talking about the impact of this album. The singles from this were Dead Presidents, Can't Knock the Hustle, Feeling It. I don't know what the question here is. It's one of the best rap albums of all time. We can't debate how it really aged. I guess we could just talk about the influence of it.
What's funny is, like, when this album came out, I wasn't a big fan of this album when it first came out.
But a lot of people felt that way, but why?
I mean, I was very, very young. Like, when this album came out, I think I was maybe 12 or going on 13 when this album came out. And I don't know if I'm right or wrong. When did It Was Written come out by Nas? I think It Was Written came out the same year.
See?
When It Was Written came out, I had a friend. I actually had a friend. It's a crazy story. So I was living in a shelter.
July 2nd,
Yeah,
1986.
Yeah, I was living in the shelter around this time when this album came out. And one of my friends that lived in there, I was really big on It Was Written, and this kid was from Queens, and he was like, yo, you should listen to JayZ's album. And I'm like, for real? I'm like, I don't like it more than Nas' album. And then even when I listened to it, first couple listens, I didn't really like get into it. And then right after this is when like the whole Mace versus JayZ shit kind of popped when I was in high school, so I really wasn't like fucking with this album. I didn't really like start messing with JayZ's music until maybe second going into his third album.
I hear a lot of New Yorkers say this, but I wonder if it's just a New Yorkers thing, because then it always becomes like a borough thing. Like, nah,
Yeah, it's a borough
like
thing.
Nas more, but I wonder if people outside of our state cared because they didn't have any investment in Brooklyn versus Queens or anything like that. Ak, you were, let's see, what did we say, 1996? Not even yet an
2 years
immigrant,
old.
right? He was not yet an
2 years
immigrant.
old.
Neither of us were, actually.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't here. Now, my introduction to Jay, I think this is when I kind of like really accepted, because like, so I came here in 2001, right? When did him
Blueprint.
Yeah,
that was Blueprint 2001.
But him and Nas went at it like
That's
around that time.
2001.
Okay,
Yeah,
exactly,
2001.
right? So I'm like in fucking whatever school I was in, and
What grade was you in that year?
Grade.
You was really young at that time. Because if I was,
Sixth?
huh?
What if it was sixth, fifth? I don't know.
Did you come and then just
I
jump
was
right into
18.
6th grade?
Yeah, I jumped right into school. Yeah, but anyway, like I remember like being so lost because people were arguing, like mad arguments in class.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, so I started listening to some of the music at that time. For Jay, I didn't listen to this probably till a year or two afterwards. And that honestly made me realize how great Jay was. Yeah. Because some of these songs, they're still some of my favorite songs now. So like with you saying this was underappreciated at the time, I remember me first hearing this shit, I was like, whoa. Because he was kicking so much game. Like, to me, Can I Live is like one of the, if I had to give 10 greatest hip-hop songs of all time, 100% that's
Damn, I didn't know Ak really gave a fuck like that.
Can I Live? Bruh, like, I remember just even, like, was it the second or third verse on that shit monumental? But I always thought.
Yo, you got the fucking
It is though. But like, no,
extravagant.
it's just some of the way he was breaking shit down.
Yeah.
Like, again, you know, I mean, maybe I was a little bit new to consuming rap. Yeah. But I saw a bunch of rappers at the time and heard how they were fucking like just rapping about anything, whether it was the streets, whatever they were into. The way he broke it down was a very different way. You know what I mean? Like he was kicking game from like almost a place of like it's like imagine having an outer body experience where you're not just time trapped or just your view is only where you can see it from. Yeah. He was looking at the game from. That's why I like even like shows like The Wire. Like it felt like he was hovering above all the bullshit and giving real concise game with having the experience. Well, so Can I Live, Dead Presidents 2, that shit was like those songs when I heard I'm like, yo, this nigga clearly, and maybe I just never got into 90s rap at that time. Yeah. But one of course, this project from Jay being my introduction, kind of, like I was like, yo, I don't know if his peers was rapping on this level, but this nigga, at least compared to the 2000s, he was head and shoulders above everybody else.
Well, I didn't, another reason why I didn't really, well, I wouldn't say I didn't like it, because this ended up being one of my favorite JayZ albums. You know, like out of the classics that I feel Jay has, this is one of them. But like, I didn't really understand a lot of shit he was talking about. You know what I mean? Like being a kid, when somebody says, my mind is infested with sick thoughts that circle like Alexis. If driven wrong, it's sure to hurt you. Like, I couldn't understand that shit, or I keep one eye open like CBS. Like,
fire.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't understand a lot of that shit at 12 years old.
Mad quotables.
No, this is one of the most quotable albums ever. But I mean, when this album, I think it was like it definitely was a late bloomer, because at this time, you gotta remember, I think when this came out, Tupac was still alive. I mean, like Hit 'Em Up, that was the summer Hit 'Em Up had hit. Biggie was still alive, so it's like I didn't really appreciate Jay at the time, because there's gonna be people that say, oh, well, you wasn't, man, listen, Biggie and Tupac was the biggest shit. Like nobody was nobody wasn't paying attention to Jay, but Jay was kind of, after Biggie, Tupac and Nas, like Jay was like kind of an afterthought at that time with me being a kid. You know what I mean? And then when I started to get into his music, that's when I got into high school. 96 when I got into high school. Then Mace came out. That was the biggest fucking debate ever, because everybody from Harlem was arguing with everybody from Brooklyn, because they have Reasonable Doubt, and then Mace.
New York shit.
Oh yeah, now OD, and then Mace dropped his album next year in 97, you know what I mean? And then In My Lifetime, Volume 1 came out, like, but this album, my favorite song off of this is Regrets. Like, Regrets was my favorite record. And Cashmere Thoughts.
Again, I'm only speaking from my point of view and my experience, given the story I've always told about just how I kind of got into everything. This album made you understand Jay's swag for me. Like, I mean, not only that, but like also the beat selection was amazing too. Like, Feeling It.
Yeah, Feeling It. Oh yeah, 22 Twos.
That's, I think, was that a sample or was that actually?
Feeling It? Not Feeling It is a sample. Majority of them songs on there are samples.
Fire, right?
Yeah.
And even like songs like Politics as Usual.
Yeah, Politics as Usual.
You saw from then that this nigga was literally, like, he understood. He was a street nigga that had and understood the businessman approach.
He was a Stringer Bell. The
Stringer Bell.
thinkers. The thinkers.
Perfect. And if anyone doesn't get that,
Stringer Bell got smoked, man.
Yeah, okay, he died in the
Go
end,
ahead,
but he
man.
was trying. That's not the point, Wayno. Damn.
Stringer Bell's a goat of that. If you guys ever watched The Wire, one of my favorite TV shows of all time. But songs like Politics as Usual, I mean, of course, everybody knows Can't Knock the Hustle, Ain't No Nigga, of course.
Bring It
singles,
On,
right?
yeah.
But
And none of them feel dated. Sometimes when you listen to old albums, they feel dated. This one makes you feel nostalgic. It'll take you back, but without feeling like it didn't.
and that's why I came into this discussion, at least try to listen to Wayno and him giving some insight on how this was received when it just came out.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I know listening to it 5-6 years later, right? This shit, to be honest, I was like, this nigga was ahead of his time. Right. This shit was like amazing. I can't imagine that shit coming out and people are saying, that was cool.
But yo, I ain't gonna lie. That's what I'm saying. Like, you gotta look at who else was out at that time. Like this the year that Machiavelli dropped. I think All Eyes on Me was out. Machiavelli had dropped. I mean, Biggie was going into dropping Life After Death. Fucking It Was Written came out that year. When this year came, It Was Written was my favorite album. Like, that's my favorite Nas album ever. Is It Was Written.
Was
like,
Illmatic?
Yeah, way more than Illmatic. I feel like Illmatic was a lot of let me not say shock value, because Nas was so young and he was saying certain types of shit. That's what was like the biggest factor. But as far as like having a whole album of every type of record, It Was Written is that for me when it came to Nas. But I was more on listening to It Was Written than I was listening to this. I mean, like the year before, Only Built for Cuban Links was out. JayZ was still kind of like a new artist. So me being a kid, I was on Nas for 2 years already, or like a year and a half, 2 years already. I was on Wu-Tang Clan pretty heavy around this time. There's a lot of shit I was on. I think Ghostface Iron Man album came out this year. 96 was a real good year for hip hop.
So does this happen a lot? You know, an artist dropping, think about this happening now in like such a crowded time. And then even if people not appreciating the album at the time, going back and years later realizing how great it was. It doesn't happen super often. It might have happened for Kendrick, definitely, right?
Section 80.
Right.
Section 80.
Right, but
like that.
How old was Jay when he dropped this?
26.
I know we were talking about Nas and how young he was when he dropped.
26 when he dropped it.
But like this level of introspection is like breathtaking. You know, like you see, and to give the audience a little bit of clarity in terms of how I think when I'm criticizing artists as they age and as they're putting out projects, not saying they have to be, have the introspection of a can I live moment or whatever, but like that level of introspection, I hope to see artists grow to.
Yeah.
So when you almost kick it out the gate with
but
this
you
shit,
know, this was supposed to be like, this was supposed to be his only album. Like he had a idea that he was only gonna drop one album and then just go straight into business, right? When this album came out, like even when this album came out, when I was a kid, everybody was looking at Jay like he was old, like for real, cause he was 26. You gotta remember, like he's older than Nas. Like he's older than Nas. He's older than Biggie. He was older than like everybody. Like most artists dropped their first album at like 21.
Right.
Nas dropped his at like 19. Biggie dropped his at 20. So Jay dropping his first album at 26. Everybody's like, oh, he's like, people thought he was like old. Like, I mean, 26 is like so young. Now that I'm way older than 26, but like people viewed him as that. Like he was kind of old. But like I said, when this first came out, I didn't. You know, it's another thing too. I let a girl in school hold my tape and she never gave my shit back too. That ass, I let her hold my fucking Reasonable Doubt tape.
I hope she's watching right now.
She never gave my shit back. I got finesse. I definitely got finesse. I got finesse. But no, I mean, like, this is definitely a classic album, but it was an album that people caught on to later. That's why only thing I would think of more recent is, like, Section 80. I feel like when Good Kid, Mad City came out, like, I caught on to Kendrick a little bit later, even with Section 80. I wasn't a person that heard it as soon as it came out.
I was glad that I did at the time, but I definitely think a lot of people after hearing Good Kid went back.
Yeah, if you go back and listen to it, you're like, damn,
how
like
that project was too.
Well, for me, and my ranking of, you know, by the way, Jay has an incredible discography.
I was just gonna say, so when he ranked his own discography, he definitely put this at #1. Do you agree, or would you put something higher?
Like when he ranked his discography at that time, I think that was maybe 2 albums ago, which I don't think the 2 albums that came afterwards would have really fucked up that, especially that top 5 ranking.
Yeah.
I agreed with him, and I've always argued that his ranking was on par with mine. I don't think it was with everyone else because there was one particular project. Niggas never used to put Black Album top 5.
Why?
Really?
It is? Seriously?
I thought that was... I put it top 3. I put Black Album very high up there.
Honestly, I had like, so Reasonable Doubt is my favorite JayZ album, but it's certain days where I like Blueprint more than I like Reasonable Doubt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like those is, I feel like, all right, and no bullshit, Hard Knock Life Volume 2 is a classic album. A lot of people don't view it as, but like when you go back and listen to that album, that shit is a classic album. But I put like
Volume 2.
Hard Knock Life Volume 2. That shit is a classic album. But Blueprint. Well, I got Reasonable Doubt first and then Blueprint, but it's certain days where it's like I would rather listen to Blueprint than I would listen to Reasonable Doubt. But it just depends on how I feel. That's why
it's different spaces in your life too.
Yeah, but it's like, you know how sometimes people say albums are unskippable? Like there's certain songs, you can have a classic album and have skippable songs just depending on how you feeling that day.
Exactly.
Like certain days I don't want to hear certain songs, but it don't mean that it's like not a classic. Like every time I put on a classic album, I'm not listening to the shit start to finish every time.
Yeah, there's no way. But I wonder, for people who wouldn't put a Black Album in the top 5, what would go above it? How?
Black Album definitely.
Who have you met who said that?
I've seen people replace it
People from
with.
Spanish Town.
Stop it. No, seriously, I've seen people replace it with, which I mean, arguably, American Gangster is top 5.
Oh nah.
But
Interesting.
Over Black Album, American Gangster.
I honestly, maybe it's just people I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Black Album to me, I always felt was always criminally underrated.
It's such a great album.
Yeah,
I've never heard that.
It's a really great album.
To me, I think it's a classic.
Yeah.
It is.
Also,
I definitely think it's a classic.
I agree that his ranking was great, and he's so honest. Like Kingdom Come, definitely number 12 in the discography when he ranked it. But I like the notes that he put next to it. So like you guys said, Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, Black Album, and Volume 2, he put classic next to all of them. And then for like Blueprint 2, Too Many Songs, he said fucking Guru and hip hop. His notes are pretty hilarious.
That's when I was working at Rockefeller. When
Blueprint
he did
2?
Blueprint 2, yeah. So I was around when he recorded that shit.
Wayno, man.
I had nothing to do with working on that album. I had nothing to do with working.
Wayno
Well, I did administrative work on that album. Like I didn't do any like musical A&R shit on that.
Jay, great album. Yeah, his ranking was great.
If I on my top 10 hip hop albums of all time, Reasonable Doubt is there.
Nobody could be mad at that.
Easily.
Nobody could be mad. Is it in your top 5?
See, now I gotta do thinking.
Okay,
now I gotta do
It's
thinking.
easily in my top 5.
Think about it.
I would say mine too, but then sometimes, that's why I said top 10. Sometimes you don't realize how much great and classic albums like there are by people you really like. It's just, it might be dated, but like you just need to see a list. But definitely top 10.
Not
definitely
lie,
top 10.
You know what?
Top 5, I would say a soft yes, but you never know. Like
Yes.
Well, you know what I think when it comes to the classic conversation, like for me, I gotta start figuring out like what my classics of today are, what I feel like personal to, because it's a lot of albums that I feel like still can't fuck with, like Mobb Deep's The Infamous. Like it's mad, or Ghostface, Only Built for Cuban Links, or Liquid Swords by JayZ. But I understand that those sit in a certain place in time, but people have made music that I wouldn't say just, excuse me, wouldn't compete, not necessarily compete, but can be mentioned. Like I feel like Good Kid, Mad City is one of my favorite like hip hop classics. I feel like that's a classic hip hop album, undeniable.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, but I gotta start like going back and saying like really.
It's hard. Maybe you just have to do it by decades, or would it be by every 5 years? Because what we say, like the music changes a lot every 5 years. So is a decade too much? Trying to group a bunch of albums together by a decade?
I don't know.
Yeah. All I can just say about this, listen, if you're a fan of hip hop, this is a must listen to. A must.
Like, and if you're a student, like especially if you're
even if you're born after 2000s.
Yeah, you gotta listen.
And I've always said niggas who born after Tupac died, they might be on some shit. But you have to go back and listen to this. Just really as if you're a student of hip hop. Period.
I mean, but the thing, you know, I wish that hip hop would stop being like just a hustle for people and just being more of a cultural aspect. Because even for myself, like listening to Public Enemy when I was a kid. I only knew the singles. Like I knew Fight the Power. I knew like different singles that they had. And when I got older, I went back and listened to like Fear of a Black Planet. Like, you know what I mean? Like even listening to NWA before the documentary came. Like, I mean, like I started listening to NWA again around like 04 when I was like 21. And going back, I'm like, damn, like this shit was really, really good. So I hope that kids care enough to go back and listen to shit like this. Because I don't really see a lot of kids say, yeah, I listened to...
Probably when they get older.
I don't even know.
Teenagers, early 20s.
Well,
I feel like when you're a little bit older.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Nah, he's a super student.
The rare ones.
He's a super student.
How old is Corday?
Like 21. So going on 22, I think. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, so final note on this topic. Jay's note for Blueprint 3 was, sorry, critics, it's good.
I think Corday was like 17.
I thought it was over. 17. It's the baby face.
Yeah, it's the baby face.
Baby face.
He's 20.
Anyway, we have one more for this week in hip hop. Sean Don, he dropped Finally Famous. That was June 28th, 2011. His debut album under Good Music and Def Jam. Kanye executive produced this. Features included, of course, Ye, Chris Brown, Wiz, Lupe, and more. Production by No ID, Keyway, Neptunes, and some others. Debuted at number 3 on Billboard 200. Sold 87,000 copies in its first week and went on to be certified platinum. The singles, My Last featuring Chris Brown, Marvin and Chardonnay featuring Kanye, Roscoe Dash, and S. Or Dance. Either one.
This is his debut?
Yeah, that was his debut album.
He had a project before this, so
He had
hella mixtapes, but I guess
Yo,
studio.
I'm gonna tell y'all some fucked up shit about me listening to this album.
Yeah, the Finally Famous mixtape.
I've never listened to this album in sequence. And the reason why is because like around this time I was still like downloading shit. Like, you know when you could find a link, downloading shit, and you know how when you download something it never like
sometimes it wasn't even like
it was never in sequence. So I've always
you
like
must have had the bad download.
I had the bad downloads.
They weren't putting the little 01,
yeah, the
02.
01, 02.
They were just giving you the tracks. So
right.
You just hitting
so on my iPod
alphabetical order, nigga.
Right. So on my iPod, like I never had this shit in sequence. But like this was a good album because I'm not gonna lie, yo. Like I didn't really like Big Sean prior to his debut album. Like
you didn't like mixtape Sean?
Here and there. Like you know what? The only thing I really got into was the Lemonade freestyle, and then like his features on he was on what's that fucking Currency tape, yo? It was a tape that Currency had where he had him on there. A few tapes. I was just into his features. I never really like was what you said, Raj? No, I wasn't. But I can't remember what it was. It was something. It was black and gold. I just remember it was Currency. It was black and gold. But I never really like got into Sean, but once he got to his debut, this would make me fuck with him. But again, I never listened to this album one time, top to bottom, all in sequence. It was all like pieces.
I always thought his singles for this project was really amazing. Better than, I forgot what his other project afterwards was.
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. What was the singles for that? I don't remember that. But anyways, I do it. I remember every fucking person was just constantly like, be like, you could tell when it was Sean with those little quirky little phrases. Like,
you were still in school at this time when this came out?
Yeah, nigga, I was in college.
All right, I mean, I wasn't.
So, this shit was, when did this come out?
2011.
Yeah, definitely.
I was 27 around that time.
And
yeah.
like, one thing I remember, because unlike these two fucking haters over here, acting like I never DJed a day in my life.
Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. Listen, by the way, I got kicked off college radio. By the way, blessed in disguise. I always say to people, hey, when one door closes, another one opens up. I used to do college radio.
Okay.
And I got kicked off because, like, again, it was a small radio station. You had to do everything. And I'm in the radio station. We had to have clean music, but I was like a DJ around campus. So I did parties, whatever. Now I used to go online, of course, legally download, sorry. And I would download 3 or 4 versions of every song. Clean version, sometimes you have a super, or called squeaky clean version, which is really meant for radio. The clean version will blur out the fucks, the ass, the
But it don't blur out bitch.
Yeah, you get me? But the squeaky clean, everything is out. You'll have the instrumental, acapella, whatever. It'll be a whole pack for the big singles. So I'm running this whole station. I had like a dope slot. People knew me on campus. Someone was coming in because I had a guest that day. We used to do like campus gossip shit. Pretty much what I ended up becoming. Anyway.
Wrap it up, B.
Not much is changed.
Listen, it's a good story, nigga. They were coming in. I walk out of the station. I set it to autoplay. So it's playing from my laptop. It gets to Big Sean, and for whatever reason, it played the clean version.
All right.
The clean version of Dance. I don't know if y'all remember how the song goes.
Yes,
It was
sure
dance,
do.
dance. It was dance.
It had ass, but it took the fucks out. So it didn't take the ass out. So again, the program director who was hearing at the time I was having like an edgy show doing all type of shit, she calls me and she says, yo, this is wild unacceptable. We have you playing a song that repeats ass. She counted the amount of times. I'm like, fuck this Big Sean song. And I had a co-host at that time, and I told her, I said, kick me off because like I was doing a radio thing for like two years, and I was already pivoting to online, and that's how I got kicked off college radio.
Okay, so the Cliff Notes versions of this story is that we have Sean to thank for your media personality.
The fuck off.
There it is.
That's it?
Yeah.
Big Sean. He birthed Akademiks.
And by the way, I was doing mad parties then. Dance used to ring off. Marvin and Chardonnay used to ring off.
Marvin Gaye and Chardonnay.
And my last joint was cool, but the I Do It song, it was always a personal favorite of mine. It wasn't like a club banger, nothing like that. But honestly, you gotta remember that was the debut album when Sean came in the game talking about he was rapping for Kanye outside of a fucking like radio station.
I don't know why that gets you so mad every time you say it.
He said that about J.Cole too. Like,
visibly perturbed when you say that shit. What's good with you?
Rapping fine.
Listen.
All right, carry on.
Anyway, beyond that, like, again, I thought this was a very solid project.
Word.
I never knew he was gonna turn out to be what I thought the lyricist he ended up being, but this was a good start.
All right. You know what I felt? That's another thing. I felt like Sean could rap, but he used to get away with so many corny lines.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, like Kanye. Like Kanye used to get away with mad. Like Kanye had a lot of great songs, but he got really bad lines. Like Sean used to get away with a lot of bad lines.
Oh.
But you know what's my favorite? Right,
Hey, we ain't gonna mention this without admitting that niggas took a lot of his flows.
Absolutely.
Niggas took his. This was around the time that he was a new blood, and niggas played off of certain things he did. Some was corny, clearly, but like some of his flows, niggas took.
Big Sean beef with Ludacris.
But that's because he took Luda's flow.
Oh,
You know, it's like the Migos, like really it's Bone Thugs and Harmony, but like you reinvented it kind of like your own, and anybody else who takes it afterwards, you act like it's yours.
Yeah.
All right. Solid
Just
album, big singles, like you said. Dark Sky, Paradise is my favorite Sean album, though.
My favorite Sean project is the Detroit mixtape. The Detroit mixtape.
Well, mixtapes are albums.
Well,
that's different. I'm talking just albums.
Well, no, that's a great point though. You see, this is one of the reasons I've always like said he should be top 3, or top 5 at least. For you, with the Detroit mixtape, if you really wanted to see Sean the lyricist, he shines there.
Yeah.
Sean the song maker, somewhat of a storyteller. I won't say like very strong, but like mixes the lyricism and song making. Dark Sky Paradise. That's where it goes.
All right. So.
Shout out to Sean. Thank you for birthing Akademiks. He'll thank you one day.
He got me fired.
He's your pops. Big Sean's your pops.
That nigga got me fired on college
man.
radio.
You are his son.
And I started YouTubing. Rest is history.
All right. So yesterday we started our favorite of 2019 so far. We did favorite albums. Today we are going to wrap up with favorite songs and our favorite artists. We're not saying top because it's just, there's too much specific criteria. Just the people we enjoyed the most. And we're going to let Wayno take it away with his favorite songs of 2019 so far. Disclaimer, some of these might be from late 2018.
Yes, some of them are because we keep having this debate every goddamn day about what fits the criteria. I feel like if you drop something very, very late in the year, that your setup or your run is going into the next year, so it should follow as such. So, yes, spoiler alert, it's a Meek Mill song. Uptown Vibes, Meek and Fab. Even though Annual...
When did this come out, Wayno?
It came out November of 2018.
Sure.
Yes, November 2018.
Yeah, it was
like it was last summer.
It was like it was like November. Wait, was it a single?
Nah, it didn't start out as a single. Meek didn't have any singles leading into his album. He just dropped his album. So I got Uptown Vibes, you know what I mean? Even though I don't listen to Annuel's verse at all.
November 22nd, that's not bad.
Right, then we got Middle Child by J.Cole.
Can I interject real quick?
What you want, Akademiks?
I just want to say, Wayno said one thing about that Uptown Vibes song, and maybe he's right. I'm not out in Dykeman, okay? But we need to see some people in the comment section or some people who watch the show co-sign what he told me that this shit is really getting bumped. Like
I said next summer. I said that when it came out.
It's getting bumped right now? Like
I haven't been to Dykeman yet. I haven't been to Dykeman yet. I haven't been to Dykeman yet. But definitely. But me, I know I seen Meek saying something he was gonna shoot the video. But anyway, let me keep going, Akademiks. Stop fucking interrupting me. All right, Middle Child by J. Cole. Super heavy on this one. I fuck with it. You know what I mean? I was actually surprised that my nigga Ak, this is one of his favorite songs, even though it's not on his list. This is one of his favorite songs. But I like Old Town Road remix. I do like Old Town Road remix with Billy Ray Cyrus. It's been one of the.
Is it because of Billy Ray Cyrus?
No, it's not because
like
I never heard it without him on it. Like I didn't listen to the original because the remix came really fast. I hadn't listened to it. But
shout out to JayZ who wrote that verse, by the way.
Right.
Whoa,
Yes.
Don't be exposed.
It's exposed. I met her Friday.
I met her too.
Cool.
We was right. You know the little golf carts and shit
Yo,
that they take you from place to place. We was on the same golf cart.
What's wrong with y'all?
I'm not
Right.
exposing
Keep the Ghostwriters ghost.
Billy Ray Cyrus
She's
does
not
not
a
give
ghost.
a fuck.
Okay. Then I got Higher, of course, by Nipsey Hussle. Definitely one of my favorite records. I think that is memorable. It's gonna be, even though Khaled might not have a classic album, this is a classic moment. You know what I mean? And I think it was very, very dope because it's not only because Nipsey passing away. Seeing that video and that song, I knew where he was about to go. You know what I mean? Without him passing, it was a dope record. And Suge by DaBaby. That's one of my favorite joints as well. And I love that video.
All right.
You got an honorable mention, don't you?
Good.
My honorable mention, yes. My honorable mention.
It's a great song.
Because we had a lot of, I don't like this whole, it came out at the end of 2018.
No. Talk your shit, because I didn't make one of these lists.
Okay.
But this is one of my favorite songs of the past, 5 years.
A Lot by 21 Savage and J. Cole. How many times you got shot? A lot. How many niggas you shot? A lot. I love A lot.
That's like self-snitching. All right.
I love that
Hey,
song.
listen. I wanted to really give y'all, because once y'all moved it from top, and y'all kind of moved it to favorite.
Right.
I had to give y'all what I really listen to.
So I NWML
and
everything?
honestly, I don't listen to a lot of shit that really charts. Sometimes I don't listen to a lot of stuff that we even talk about on the show, but we try to talk about stuff on the show that sometimes mainstream or that most people could know about. Anyways, this is my list. Middle Child did make my list, even though I think I had bumped it to an honorable mention, but it's on my list. Yeah. Middle Child's on my list. Shorty, well, go ahead.
If I remember correctly, I could be tripping.
Pull
when
the
this
tape.
song dropped,
Pull the tape.
we still need a
Pull
roll
the tape.
intern. Were you not a huge fan of Middle Child? Like, you felt like it was cool, but not a song that would like have legs? If I remember,
He did
Wayno
say like
seems
that.
to be validating what I'm
Nadeska,
saying.
He did say that.
Nadeska.
And then one day he came, he's like, yo, Middle Child by J. Cole is fire.
No, Nadeska. The cannabis is fucking up your memory, okay?
I've been sober for 3 months.
That's not sober, right? Anyway, listen. This is what I said.
What?
I said, I felt it's a great song, but
Put your fingers down.
I
Don't Obama this.
I wanted him to talk his shit a little bit. I like when he's popping shit.
No,
He's popping shit on
really
this.
what happened.
And, I mean, he was, but I felt like, I think I pointed out like a line or two where I felt like he stopped short of like really taking it there, but I like the direction. Again, that was my initial reaction. overall, I really like this song. And by the way, I give him all the credit. I think it's part of, he's worked diligently and tirelessly to either collab with other people or put music out. He's not a ghost this year. I think he's leading overall in artistry this year. And yes, this song has lasted legs. It has legs. It went double platinum. Congratulations to him. So he's on my list for middle child. The rest, y'all might not know. Shorty, Bituary, man. Y'all gotta go check that shit out. Listen, yo, Roger in my ear when it's saying this fire. I know it's just heat, bruh. Listen, if you guys haven't heard, I think he's from Baltimore. I could be wrong about that. You got this project called Captain Hook. Honestly, super infectious, weird kind of voice. But to be honest, like, it reminds me of YB and the Mirrors bounce out with that, a little part of it, but super fire. If y'all don't know, my favorite artist is YNW Melly. And No Heart, I think We All Shine is the best tape that came out this year.
Okay.
His song No Heart, really, you know what I mean? It's related to me a lot of times, so I really fuck with that joint. Okay? After that, King Von and Lil Durk. I'm glad both of those black brothers are free. Mm-hmm. They got caught up in some stuff recently, but you know what? Crazy Story 2.0, a song that kind of eerily, ironically, mirrors a lot of what they're going through. But to be honest, this song was hot before the bullshit they're in. And to keep it real, if you haven't listened to it, you got to listen to it. Reminds me of, and maybe Wayno would probably, I don't know if you ever heard this song, but you know Tony's Story by Meek? Like pretty much like you're almost like laying out a sequence of events. Dope ass shit. Then I have Lil Uzi, Free Uzi, not on DSPs, but to keep it real, I wasn't the biggest of fan of the song at the time. I remember my initial reaction when we did talk about it here is that, yo, I want a single type because I want that EXO Tour Life Part 2, basically, as a single. But, he's going through label issues, and this particular song, it really bumps. You know what I mean? And to keep it real, like, Uzi on his dancing shit. We know we've been praising Offset recently because he's been expressing himself. Uzi on that shit, too. And my honorable mention, Lil Tecca did it again.
Okay. Thank you. So thorough. Now we're going to do favorite artists of 2019 so far, and Akademiks is first, but now let's do Wayno instead.
Because this is one of my favorite albums, right? Tyler, the Creator, is one of my favorite artists of the year so far. Just because his evolution. I know Ak jokes a lot about him not having no bars or rapping on it, and before he dropped this album, he put out a disclaimer saying, don't go into Igor saying that this is a rap album or a hip-hop album. It's just an album. It's just music. And I think it's one of the dopest creative pieces of this year. So I'm fucking with Igor. And it's crazy, surprisingly, a lot of dudes that I know that's from the street rocking with Igor, just on some music shit.
What street?
What street? None of the streets that you're in, Akademiks. None of the streets that you're in. I got also, this we're not ranking, but I also got Megan Thee Stallion. I feel like Megan Thee Stallion, as a new up-and-coming like lady in this game, like she's really stating a claim. Like I don't think she's comparable to Nicki. I don't think she's comparable to Cardi. I think that she's carved out her own lane from the South. She's getting respect from everybody. Everybody is questioning because she likes to twerk. Is she really into making music? And she's gotten past that. Like she's doing a thing. So I definitely got Megan Thee Stallion in there. Got my man DaBaby. You know what I mean? I got my man DaBaby in there because aside from all of the antics and the bullshit that he's going through, he's going platinum. You know what I mean? Like he's going platinum with Suge. He's reached 1 million subscribers on YouTube. His album came out pretty early, but it has reached back into the top 10 with the success of Suge, all of that. So I got DaBaby in there. And last, even though there hasn't been much that's come out, I got YB and Cordae. And the reason why I have YB and Cordae in there is because, one, I really fucking believe in this kid. He's dope. He could rap. And I think that he's going to make a ill splash. I mean, he's made the XXL cover, which he's made the XXL cover. Then also he had a crazy performance with her. Nobody saw that coming. I mean, I didn't see that coming. That was really powerful. And he's gearing up to drop his album, or I'm going to consider it an album, because I don't think he would go into like mixtape mode. I think that he's going to satisfy everybody that's been waiting. You know what I mean? And then my honorable mention for Artist of the Year, I got to go with my man 21 Savage, because he did drop an album in the end of the year, but he has a single that's been bumping. He's also been all over the Khaled shit, a few other people's features he's been killing. So I got to go with my man 21 Savage as an honorable mention.
Okay. Thank you, Wayno. You want to go next?
I'm still in your honorable mention. 21's on mine as well. I will say I also have Drake on it. I'm not gonna really go into. Stop, man. Listen.
Of course.
Drake's on.
Like you thought I was gonna have Pusha T.
All right. Anyway,
Because he won the
YNW Melly
championship.
is on mine. So y'all should understand 21. 21's been doing so much great things. You know, even though he dropped his project in 2018, amazing. He's been doing a lot of stuff. On mine. Drake, he's on mine. I think he's gearing up for another album this year. Can't wait. YNW Melly, I'm telling you, I know the black brother right now is incarcerated for really some heinous things, but the music is really good. And again, I'm solely talking about music, not shock value of what he's charged with or anything else outside of that. I listened to the album. I really love it. I listened to the project before. I really enjoy his music. He's one of my most enjoyable acts of 2019. J.Cole, can't even lie, man. Listen, I've always had a J. Cole critique tucked in his sleeve, left, right, and center. That's just how it is. Whether it's, yo, you're too boring, you don't do enough, you don't put out enough, you're not assertive enough, you ain't trying to get the throne, this and third. I'm not gonna lie. Again, I don't know if he's acknowledged that he is answering to critics, or maybe that's just a natural mood change or just his natural inspirations at this time. But Cole is fucking killing it. Right. There is no one this year that I feel is comparable to him. And 6 months in a year, hats off to him, because all the critiques, if you're not satisfied with the effort he's doing this year, you're just a hater to begin with, right? I also have Roddy Ricch on my list. To keep it real, I've enjoyed Roddy Ricch's music since last year, but I do believe going into this year, this is where we're gonna see the real type of artist that Roddy Ricch is. To me, I feel like he's the voice from the streets. And he's a updated.
What streets, Ak?
Streets of Compton, nigga.
No,
okay.
But
like to me, like he's a updated, new. Like he breathes that new life that like we talk about a lot, this and third. But there's substance to it. There's a story behind it. There's real people behind it, and he represents something. You get me? And it feels like more than someone just singing to sing or rap to rap. It feels like he has a story behind his whole movement. And, of course, his big singles, Die Young, Every Season, Fuck It Up did pretty good. But he continues to put out music. He had a really dope joint with Nipsey. And as this year progresses, and I think even into the future, by the way, made double XL cover, I think he's going to show that he's a standout and an artist that's meant to last. So he's one of my favorites.
Okay.
Oh, and DaBaby. but DaBaby's a baby.
Yeah, you also have an honorable mention?
Oh, honorable mention, Lil Keed, salute to Lil Keed. Long Live Mexico, underrated tape. Well, actually, I don't think it was underrated because it did pretty good in sales. But
I mean, it's still building because it just came out, right?
Yeah, but I do want to say that he has kind of came out of the blue for a lot of people, and when I first heard him, he was annoying. But sometimes that happens with artists you end up liking. So salute to Lil Keed. I think he's on Thug's label, right?
Yeah, I think he's on YSL.
The Slimes.
The Slimes. Okay, we got a couple minutes left, and I have some overlaps with you guys, so I'll keep this short. So, of course, J. Cole, for me, I agree with Ak that he's killing it this year. I think Day One Cole fans, like me, have always known how talented he is. Especially with features, so like Beautiful Bliss with Wale was really dope. We did Looking for Trouble. I think people forget that he's done those. Whatever he went through in his career that made him want to recede into the bushes, that's his business, but I'm glad that he's back. So he can put out great projects. He's been bodying features this year. I feel like he hasn't missed. And I also like that he's putting some effort behind his team right now. Right. You know what I mean? Revenge of the Dreamers 3 is coming up. JID is doing well. Ari's doing well. Earth Gang's out here. Ak's learning their names. Like, it's nice to see like the whole movement is going, and he's out here collaborating with people like Moneybagg Yo and 21 Savage that we would never expect. She is.
Oh shit.
She is. See?
That nigga doing some good. Yo, J. Cole on the shit this year then.
He is. It's nice as a fan because you're right. All the shit you were talking before, it's like 5 years of like having to defend him all the time. The shit gets exhausting. So.
And to see him with like Moneybagg Yo, I think that when I seen that, I'm like, he's moving a little bit different.
Yeah, he came back. Megan Thee Stallion, like Wayno said, she has a great presence and just doing her own thing. She's also very smart, juggling school and rapping.
In school?
She was doing school.
I saw that today on the ground. Was she really in school?
Yeah,
or like
I did. Yo, actually,
online classes,
go to Apple Music,
Everest College.
check out my Apple Music Up Next interview with her. It's like a good hour. So she's trying to open like health centers, I believe, back in Houston and have like her friends run it and stuff like that. Super smart. She's another thinker. I like the thinkers. And she has like plans and she's dedicated and she likes to rap. I've seen so many rappers throw tantrums when you ask them to freestyle, which is the wildest shit to me. Like, it's kind of your job. But she'll never do that. She'll actually rap for you. So I respect that tremendously. Rico Nasty, when I think she's on the freshman cover, Ak had his doubts about that class, but I think there's some solid picks in there. She had the project Anger Management out with Kenny Beats this year. She's really been building her movement slowly, and she might not have a big breakout hit like he keeps talking about, but I hope she gets one soon. I think she's super talented and one to look out for. JID, he dropped DiCaprio 2 last year. I really like that album. He's done a couple dope features. I feel like he's out and about a lot more. Like I said, Revenge of the Dreamers 3 is coming. I hope he gets some more love. Super talented guy. Honorable mentions, the Queen, Ari Lennox, and Tyler, just because he had my favorite album of the year, has to be a default.
Let's go.
All right, that's
Igor.
it. That's it. All right, so guys, we're off next week.
Yes.
Hope you have a great week. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
I'm gonna miss being here. Well, not miss being here, miss creating content.
I was just gonna say you're gonna miss us, but nah. He's
No,
gonna
I
miss
guess
creating
he'll be creating
content. You'll create hella content.
Yeah, but you know.
Oh wait.
Go ahead.
21 Savage.
Oh yeah.
21. Sorry, I forgot to put him on the list. Would he be honorable in my list?
Yeah.
I Am Greater Than I Was also came out super late in 2018. That's one of my most listened to albums of the year. And then when he went through all of that shit with immigration, I loved him even more. Like, I don't know, 21's great. Yeah, one, because I can rate him.
Listen, his song Can't Leave Home Without It.
With Gunna and Baby?
Yeah, definitely had me go to my local police precinct and apply for a gun permit.
He always, you know what, he accuses
right
us
to bear
all the
arms,
time. Like,
nigga.
he always accuses us.
No,
like,
on some real shit though, like for real. Can't leave home without it is a really good thing to think about.
You don't leave the house. You got nothing to worry about.
Well, I don't want to be home without it anyway.
Anyway, shout out to 21. I'm excited for more music for him. I want to see him on tour too. Guys, enjoy your 4th of July, and we'll see you here, I believe, July 8th. It's a Monday. See you soon.
We will
So
be
none of
back.
y'all barbecue, man? Y'all ain't American. Don't tell niggas barbecue.